Yo, what's up everybody? It's Sunday. What's going on? Got the guns. We gotta talk, folks. This narrative that I'm sure you've heard so many times, like the stimulus. Oh, they're taking people's money and they're just giving it to other people. Like a redistribution, right? They're taking our tax money, they're just giving it to somebody else. You can't grow non-government savings and income by doing that. Look, if you take my taxes and you give it to somebody else, let's say whatever, you take $100 from me and you give $100 to somebody else. I have $100 less in my account. That person has $100 more. The net amount is zero, right? I'm negative 100. He's positive 100. That is zero. It's very easy to explain how this works. When the stimulus went out, non-government savings, private savings went from like, I don't know, 600 billion to 6 trillion, okay? That didn't happen. Like, even if you took away from me, what, 5.4 trillion, and gave it to another group of people, 5.4 trillion, the net amount is zero. It would not change the total aggregate amount of savings. The only way that the total aggregate amount of savings for the non-government could go up is a net addition. That's the only way it went from 600 billion to 6 trillion. So it's not taking from someone and giving it to somebody else. And the only reason I point this out, I'll be honest with you, this guy, Representative Dan Crenshaw, you know the guy with the patch on the eye? Okay, he did military service, he lost his eye. Right, that's a whole other thing. I'm not going to get into military service. I'm not going to get into our endless wars, ridiculous wars that we shouldn't be fighting in the first place. And you know, people who have suffered, who have died, like Crenshaw lost an eye, okay? Young people died, but let's not get into that. But he makes this ridiculous claim, as a lot of people make this ridiculous claim, like I'm taking your money and I'm giving it to somebody else. Doesn't work that way. Mathematically, it is impossible. Do you understand? You cannot grow national savings by taking it from one group and giving it to another. You have a positive and a negative that cancels each other out. It's simple arithmetic. 1 plus negative 1 equals 0. But plus 1 added to 0 or added to 5 is one additional thing more. Alright, let me go over it again. There's only one way to increase national savings, and that has to be a net addition from the government. Dan Crenshaw is wrong. Unfortunately, a lot of people out there, maybe many of you, we'll see what the comments are going to say. Unfortunately, a lot of people out there are of the belief, you know, they just had this indoctrinated into their brains. Oh, he's taking my money, the government's taking my money and giving it to somebody else. Now, it's true, we all pay taxes. And unfortunately, the way the tax system is set up, it reinforces this idea, this notion that, you know, the government needs our money, needs our dollars. That's unfortunate because it does reinforce this idea, and it's very hard to explain to somebody that, you know what, that's not really the way it works. Because a normal person would be like, what do you mean? They're coming after me every April 15th and I got to send them my money. Or every single time I get a paycheck, I got money taken out of there. So it's really hard to convince people of that. I understand that. You're not going to get into a conversation with, you know, your colleagues at work or your relatives and explain that in one sit down. They're just going to, you know, they're just going to say, no, it doesn't happen that way because, hey, look, I got to pay taxes and it's coming out of me. It's going somewhere else. So it's very hard for people to understand that. But the reality is, it doesn't work that way. There could only be one way for us to get dollars, because it only comes from one source. The government is the monopoly issuer of the dollar. It doesn't come from factories in China, okay? It doesn't come from you printing them up in your basement. The government is a maker of money. We are a taker of money. We are a maker of things, goods and services, and our labor, and the government is a taker of things. And as much as you want to believe it's a taker of our money, which it is, look, I pay taxes like everybody else, and it hurts every, you know, it's coming up again next month. But it just doesn't work that way. So this characterization of the stimulus being like, you know, they took that's what he said, they took 1.9 trillion. Here's what he said. They bribed people with their own money. He bribed people to the tune of 1.9 trillion with their own money. No, the 1.9 trillion is a net addition. Now, maybe you're not going to get any of it. All right? But it goes into the pool. I've always used the swimming pool analogy. You might be at one end of the pool, the water's coming in at the other end, but what happens? The level of the pool rises up. The level of the water rises up. That water might not be pouring down on you. That doesn't matter. In some way, shape, or form, you are going to be the beneficiary of that rising level. You know, it's going to come up. In one way, shape, or form, you are going to be the beneficiary of that rising level. And vice versa. If they're draining out the pool, and you might be at the other end, and the pool might have a certain shape where, who knows, I don't know, it's deeper at the other end, and you think you're okay, you know, because, hey, the shallow end, they're losing water. But guess what? You're going to be losing water too. You got that? So, I mean, this was on my mind today. I had to address this, you know, this belief, which is just, it's just wrong. And it's too bad that it is put out there because it is very divisive. It makes one group hate the other group. We're all in this together, man. You know, this benefits us. But the way it's understood makes some people hate other people for no reason. And that's bad. I mean, the government might be screwed up, and I'm not, you know, pro-government per se. We got to stick together. We have to stick together. And the fact that it divides us and makes people angry and gets people pissed off at some other group, it's not their fault. It's nobody's fault. It's not our fault. It's a function of, you know, really understanding what's going on. And if you don't like what the government's doing, we change it as a citizenry. There's a process, but we can't be against each other because of ignorance. That is just, that's a shame. No other way to state it. Anyway, those are my thoughts this Sunday. Have a great Sunday. Let's hope for a great market next week. Whatever it is, we can handle it, right? We can handle it. We got the mental game. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.